These are all of the fantasy books on my physical TBR. Rapid fire because clearly we've got a lot to get to. Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is from my friend who's moving, so I actually just got a ton of new books. I've heard great things about this book and this author. All I know is that it's high fantasy inspired by the civilizations of the pre-Columbian Americas. I really don't know how to pronounce the title of this book. Kaikei? This is another book I got from my friend. I could be completely wrong, but my understanding is that this is a Madeline Miller-esque retelling of a myth. Either way, I remember that when this was published, R.F. Kuang said that she loved it, so I will be reading. Dark Rise by C.S. Pacat. I'm not sure if this is YA or adult. This takes place in a fantasy world where there's light magic and dark magic. Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. This is YA. It's the first in a series, and I've heard it's inspired by Lord of the Rings. It sounds so good. Jade City by Fonda Lee. This series is so popular. I feel so left out that I haven't read it yet, but I'm scared. This is a fantasy, but I think it's more like of a modern fantasy. I'm pretty sure there's guns, and it's about warring mafia families in a fantasy city. I have Paladins Grace by T. Kingfisher. I rarely hear people talk about this book or this series, but T. Kingfisher is a favorite of mine. I don't know what this is about, but it's probably about a paladin. And I started playing D&D this year, so I know what that is. I have this arc of Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This was one of my most anticipated books of last year, and obviously I still haven't read it. But Cassandra Clare wrote the Shadowhunter novels that I loved as a teenager, and this is her adult debut, not set in the Shadowhunter world. Big deal, okay? So I need to read this. I also have The Adventures of Amina AlSurfi by S.A. Chakraborty. This is about a woman who is a pirate. Say no more. Foundry Side is another high fantasy, and I think it has to do with a group of rebels who do a heist or something, kind of Six of Crows-esque. The Warm Pants of Ghosts by Catherine Arden, who is the author of the Winternight trilogy, which I love. This is her newest book. It's historical fantasy set during World War I. Catherine Arden just has such a beautiful way of spinning words. I just know this is going to be so magical and whimsical. Unlike most of those other books, which I got for free or received as a gift, I spent my own money on this. This is like one of the only books I bought all year. The Unmaking of June Pharaoh. This is magical realism because I just heard it's really good and I need a summery, sweet book in my life. It wasn't until I sat down to film this that I realized just how big my physical fantasy TBR is. I've gotten a lot of free books recently, so it's definitely grown. Which one should I read first? Decide City of Brass, obviously.